What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video here at Fisherman's Warehouse. Today I'm joined with Austin, our manager over here at the Sacramento store. Today we got you guys a fishing report going on. So I know you've been out doing some fishing. I've been doing some fishing, so we'll cover that. And yeah, so straight into it. What's new?
Yeah, so what's new? I mean, rock fishing, they changed the rules where it's now you can't fish in shallow. Everything's super deep, so 300 plus. Inshore is closed. That's what's been super new with the regulations, and then tuna fishing. Tuna fishing's been pretty good this weekend. Looks like it's gonna be pretty nice. A lot of guys are going out. Guys have been coming into the store, gearing up, getting their Mad Max, getting their Makyra 50 wides all spooled up, and with 130-pound braid, and getting their wind-ons and leaders all set up to go out there this weekend. The weather's been a little rough, so guys haven't really been going out. Been wanting to go out, and I think in October is going to be really good. I've heard a lot of guys coming in and talking about it, and I think the albacore up in like Fort Bragg has been really, really good. Guys have been really knocking them dead up there. Haven't heard anything about big eye tuna being caught, but the albacore thing has been good. So
killer, yeah. Yeah, that's good to hear. So, yeah, get into our stores. We got all the ocean stuff. I mean, I know we talk a lot of bass fishing on the channel here, but, of course, we do all the tuna gear, the albacore gear, all the rockfish stuff. And, of course, it sounds like halibut's still going pretty strong out in the ocean as well. So, and we got your bases covered for all that and much more when you're going out anywhere in the ocean. And speaking of that, I know you were mentioning a little bit of surf perch fishing. So
yeah, I just went out to Santa Cruz this past weekend and did some surf perch fishing. I tried to catch some stripers, but I was unsuccessful. I fished every morning. I was like there for 3 or 4 days, and I tried every morning, and I didn't catch anything. But there were stripers wise, I caught a bunch of surf perch. Not giant ones, but it was pretty fun catching them. I think I don't know. I mean, I lost count of how many I caught, but it was fun. It was nice weather over there, sweatshirt weather. And when I came home, I was like, oh, it's 90 degrees, So it was good to get over the coast and catch a bunch of surf perch. So, but looking forward to coming back home and doing some steelhead fishing. The fall, or I guess the late summer, early fall steelhead fishing's been actually pretty good on the rivers. You got the Americans, the feather, and the sack. The Americans actually been fishing really good. Been catching a lot of fish. Not giant ones, the half pounders to about 4 pounds. Those have been the average size fish being caught. You can catch a fish up to 9-10 pounds, but those fish are kind of rare. But yeah, the fishing's been pretty good in the river. And stripers. The guys have been catching a handful of stripers on the river as well. The sack is picking up, the feather's picking up, and I heard actually the feather's been doing really good for stripers, and some really big ones too.
Nice.
So
that's good to hear.
Yeah, the American is hit or miss. You can catch some big ones in there, but there's been a lot of schoolies. So, and I heard the Delta's wide open right now for stripers. I don't know if you heard it. Yeah, so down kind of by Rio Vista and Big Break area, the stripers have been wide open over there. I had some buddies go over there pretty recently and they caught some like 10 pounders. The biggest one they caught was like 16, and all of them on top water. So it's been pretty good down there. So.
Nice. Well, I want to take it back real quick. I know you're talking about the striper or steelhead fishing.
Yeah.
And I'm totally novice on that. Don't know anything about it. So would you mind just giving a rundown of what you're doing when you go target those fish?
Yeah.
Because I think, of course, we got a lot of people that maybe have never targeted those, and we got a great option right here in our backyard. So.
Great option. It's unfortunate that our salmon season is, cut off this year, and it sounds like it's going to be cut off for the next couple of years. But so steelhead is another great option. You're pretty much fishing for them kind of the same ways, just downsizing, rods, line, and tackle. So I'm in the drift boat most of the time. I'm not really fishing from the bank. I have fished from the bank and caught them, but it seems to be easier to cover water in the drift boat. And what I'm doing, I'm either throwing a little Cleo and a mag lip, and it's a Warden mag lip, and I'm throwing either a 3.0 or a 3.5. Another great way to catch them is a night crawler, bouncing a night crawler. They're just smaller rainbows. They're just a sea run rainbow for the most part, So they fight super hard, and they're very acrobatic, I should say. They jump out of the water and they give you a good show. But yeah, most time when I'm in the drift boat, I'm kind of typewriting back and forth, especially if I have a decent section of the river that's kind of wider and I'm not too sure where those fish are going to be at. I'll just slide back and forth. I'm slowly going down river, and I have those plugs or a night crawler on I think it's called I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, I have the mag lips out, and I have roughly 60 to to 70 feet back behind the boat, and I'm just slowly going back and forth trying to cover as much water as I can. And those fish will see it and they absolutely hammer it. It's like they've never seen a plug before or seen a lure before. And it's pretty fun watching the rod just bury in the rod holder. But and then another thing is like seams and clay. Steelhead love the clay on the American. I don't know if it's because the stripers and the clay kind of gives them a hiding. It's kind of like big boulders, but there's this clay and they kind of get in the grooves and in the cuts and kind of give them a hiding place for and get away from those stripers, because there's some giant ones in the river. There's some 40 and 50 pounders out there that would love to eat a little steelhead swimming around.
Yeah, exactly.
But those fish are super hard to catch. They're super smart, right? They don't get big for no reason, right? So, but they do live out there. They are, they're out there to get caught. But the steelhead fishing is super fun. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. Especially when salmon season's kind of close. So I loved my bass fishing as well, but something about steelhead is pretty fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well, maybe I'll have to give that a try this year since got a little bit more free time in the fall now. So try to get out there. But anyways, if you want to transition over to bass fishing.
Yeah, we can transition. Okay. Yeah,
perfect. I guess I'll kick it off. So it's been an interesting fall for me. Not a whole lot of tournaments going on right now. So a lot of the fishing I've been doing, honestly, has just been going to Folsom because that's right in my backyard. Yep. I know I talk about it probably every time on here, but that lake does transfer over to a lot of the other NorCal lakes really well. So what I've been finding on Folsom right now is we're kind of obviously transitioning out of that summertime fishing and going into more of the fall time fishing in a very early way. So right now, I was catching a lot of fish shallower earlier in the summer, and at this point, all those fish are moving offshore now. I mean, I'm really not catching a whole lot of fish up in 5 feet or less of water, unless there's some sort of structure like a brush pile or something along those lines. But of course, with the dropping water levels like we have in Northern California, a lot of that brush is coming, or it's out of the bank or out of the water on the bank now. So anyways, what I'm targeting right now is offshore structures such as rock piles or brush piles, anything that's underwater, and I'm looking in that 20-foot range to 25 foot. That seems to kind of be my sweet spot right now. I was just out on Folsom this last weekend fishing a tournament and utilizing the forward-facing live scope, and that thing's a blast. I mean, we literally got on a brush pile for the last 20 minutes and caught a fish every cast because you watch them swimming around in there and you just throw right onto them and it drops down and they eat it. But of course, you guys don't need expensive electronics like that to go out there and catch those fish. I mean, literally just look at a topographical map, find your high spots, your island humps that are underwater, target those areas, and that is usually where a lot of those rock piles are set up or where those brush piles are, long tapering points that come out, so you can do it a cheap way without having all the fancy equipment. So that's what I've been finding, and of course we're still getting a good topwater bite going on, so early morning, late afternoon, all that good stuff, they'll come up and smash a topwater, walking bait, buzz bait, kind of pretty much anything you really want to throw.
And that's what I would do. Exactly.
I'm
not a big graph guy, but I think I've won plenty of tournaments out there to kind of read the bank, and I would look for shade pockets anywhere there's a bluffy wall and you got big boulders and shade. Like that's right where I'd throw my topwater. It's either a spook or a vixen or just a walking style bait.
Yep.
But that's one thing. If you don't have graphs, you can go target the bank as well. Brush any kind of brush because there's either baby bass or bluegill or holding around that brush, and then your shade. That's kind of what I would do if you didn't have graphs. But,
Yep. Great way to put it. And I know before this we were just talking about the Delta too. So I know we had probably the weirdest Delta year that we've at least ever had in my lifetime that I remember. So it was fishing pretty poorly all throughout most of summer, and then finally we started to kind of see the numbers show up at least. So a lot of the guys were catching more fish, but no size. And then it seems like in the last week or two, I haven't been out there, but I've been seeing a lot more guys posting pictures or videos, catching some pretty decent fish for a change. So I'm sure you're seeing the same thing.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. I know back in 2017 we had another high water year, and I remember it was kind of tough then as well. And the only reason why I know that is because I fished Snag Proof, and I won Snag Proof back in 2017, and then I actually won Snag Proof this year on a high water year, and it was super tough. High water years when it's tough. That's kind of I guess my years that I really do well. But it's either the Central Deltas. There's a lot of fish. Just really hard to get a big one. You either have to go way south or way north. It seems like to catch the bigger fish for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the the grass or the spraying or just too much current or dirty water. I'm not too sure exactly what it is, but you get away from the central delta and it seems like there are some bigger fish being caught.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of fish. You can go out to the delta and catch a lot of fish. Doesn't matter where you go. You can throw a chatterbait. You can throw a topwater. You can pretty much catch them any way you want to catch them. If you like throwing a drop shot, I'm sure you can catch a pile of fish. But the delta's always a fun place to catch them. And then, I don't know, anything else? I mean, I haven't really heard any tournaments. There are some tournaments. I mean, it's taking still about 20, 22 pounds to win a tournament. So, still pretty good bags, but the weights do fall off pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I know I went out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was, wasn't too hard to get a bite, but, it was definitely hard to get, 3+ pound bite.
Yeah.
Of course, but we still had our opportunities. We were out there just throwing frogs for most of the day, and it's fun when you get 10 or 15 blowups on a frog a day.
Yeah.
And of course you got to miss the big ones, which is usually how it goes.
Yeah.
So.
You hear that story from everyone. Oh, I lost a giant.
Yeah. So, anyways, Delta's getting better, and hopefully we just kind of keep going through that positive swing through the rest of fall. And then, of course, Clear Lake, it seems like that lake fished pretty consistent all summer. Guys were still catching, as far as I know, that a lot of guys are still catching, the upper 20s up there. But I think they're starting to get the hints that it's going to go into that weird kind of fall transition funk for a little bit, which is typical for up there. So we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully, the fishing stays pretty good up there. But, of course, once we get through that fall time funk, we get into, like, the really fun, aggressive fall time fishing.
Yep,
so,
my favorite time of year up there.
Yeah, so hopefully that all goes well.
Yeah.
I know I'm looking forward to getting up there. I need to plan a trip out there probably end of October, I think, is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah, I've only been to Clear Lake one time this year, and I happened to catch 2 10-pounders.
Exactly.
This spring, so I want to get back up there.
Not a bad single trip if you're going to have one, 2 10s.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so like going into the fall, so we got late summer, so end of September into October, that weird funk that happens that we're just talking about. You can catch them on an underspin. You can catch a few fish on a trap, square bill, deep cranking. You can probably catch a few fish on a jig and a drop shot. A trash fish is another way to catch them. But these fish are going to start schooling up. And as soon as they start schooling up, it's just going to be, whereas you can't get your bait in there fast enough and you're going to catch a fish. So
just like it was in spring where guys were catching 104 pounders a day. Sitting on one spot. So
I'm looking forward to getting up there and throwing an LV 500, Huddleston style bait, creeping it along the rocks, and trying to search for another 10 plus pounder.
So you can make it 3 or 4 this year.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't be a bad way to do it.
And I think the end of October into November, maybe even to late November, might be that best time to get up there and chase those fish.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, well, what else you got? Anything?
I don't know if I have anything else. I know, like, the steelhead fishing, obviously it sucks that salmon season's closed, because that's a big, a lot of guys like to salmon fish, including myself. I love to do it. A lot of guys have been going to Oregon and fishing the Rogue River and going up to Washington and fishing the Columbia and but I don't know if I got anything else. I haven't really heard much about Berryessa. Berryessa's been kind of quiet. I'm assuming it's the same stuff, fishing deep. You might be able to get up shallow and fish around the grass, throw topwater, chase the shade pockets and stuff like that. But Berryessa's been kind of quiet. I haven't heard anything about Berryessa. Kokanee fishing, it's kind of this time of year, those fish are kind of changing and getting ready to spawn. So they're not going to be that bright chrome, silver bullets anymore. They're going to start getting red and start going up the creeks to spawn. Trolling for trout, I heard Folsom has been doing pretty good for trolling for rainbows, and a few kings are showing up. If you guys are catching kings, that's one thing that salmon season's closed, but that's a landlocked fish. So guys are able to fish for kings in California as long as they're landlocked. So Orville, I think obviously Folsom. I don't know what other. I guess Shasta. I don't know other. I think Almanor has kings in it as well, but there's a few other fisheries out there that have kings. But if they're landlocked, you're able to fish for them. But I have heard there are some nice kings being caught out of Folsom, some 4 to 6 pounders. Yeah. Unfortunately, like last year, they were catching 10 to 15 pounders, so a little bit smaller grade of fish this year. But give it 1 or 2 more years, and those kings will be really big again to Folsom.
Yeah.
So
I know. When I was out there last week, and there were a ton of boats out there trolling in the morning, so guys must have been catching them. So.
Yep. And then I haven't heard anything about Comanche. It's been kind of quiet, and then New Maloney's. Been kind of quiet there too. I haven't really heard much. And then same with Don Pedro. It's been kind of quiet. So I'm sure the guys are catching them and maybe keeping it hush hush. But everything around us, you know, I mean, fishing's good. You just got to get out there and you know, spend some time in the water and you'll catch them.
Definitely, definitely.
But I think that's it. That's all I got for reports for around here.
Well, then we're tapping out here. So thanks for tuning in to another episode here on the Fisherman's Warehouse YouTube channel. Be sure to come in the store, get whatever you need for any of these species that we just covered, all the lakes, and, you know, talk to some of our associates there. They'll be sure, you know, if you guys got any questions, they'll get you hooked up with the right gear, and we will catch you guys in the next video.